Hi, this is Armando Barreño, and I am the owner and founder of Global Sports Streaming, which is basically an online streaming network that specializes in sports. Our very first program is Best in Boxing, which is the symbol behind me. It's a live boxing show, and in addition to the live boxing show, we want to bring out a ton more programming revolving around sports. And the first step is to, what's inspired this was the Patreon page and being able to basically give an exclusive look at boxing via interview with people within the sport of boxing. So they could be, it could be a promoter, it could be a fighter, it could be a manager. And in this first episode, I interview Adrian Clark, who is a manager within the sport of boxing, but he's not just a manager, he's also a writer, a best-selling author, and he is on a mission to change the sport of boxing for the better, helping fighters negotiate contracts and basically spreading the word of the change that he wants to facilitate in the sport of boxing. This is the first interview. I hope you enjoy. I appreciate Adrian Clark from AC Management, Sports Management, being on with me and talking about what it is you do and what you do for the sport of boxing. So first of all, introduce yourself and tell people watching what it is you do in the sport of boxing.
Cool. I'm Adrian Clark, owner of AC Sports Management. I'm also author of 2 books, one a bestseller and the other one hopefully we can make a bestseller. But first book is titled A Guide for Young Entrepreneurs, and my second book, which is affiliated with boxing, is titled Protect Yourself at All Times, A Guide for Professional Boxers. I represent professional athletes in multiple sports, but these days mostly in the sport of boxing. I focus really on contract negotiation for the athletes, getting them signed with whether it be endorsement deals or promotional deals, or getting them contracts with teams if they're free agents. But that's really my focal point. I like to think of myself as an advocate for the professional fighters. But yeah, I try to be a master of all trades instead of a jack of all trades and a master of none. I'm trying to master a trade before I try to skip over the whole jack part. So I'm trying to make things right in the sport of boxing, but then also leave a legacy for my family, for my name, and hopefully my kids and my family could continue this on for years to come.
So being that this is the very first interview, at this point in the clip, the reason I'm stopping it is because for the 4 minutes, I didn't realize that I wasn't recording audio. Basically, the camera froze up for whatever reason, which is the source for the audio, because I'm using QuickTime Capture, which I discovered now does audio, but I only captured the video. Learning this whole process, sharing this whole process with you guys, it's going to get better, but this is the very first time. So anyways, we'll get back to the interview. There is a chunk, there's a 4-minute chunk missing. Basically what we're talking about is the reaction to other people within the sport about what Adrian is trying to do, and that's where we will take up the conversation.
It's really hard for people to say that you're not doing the right thing, because it is the right thing. The one thing I get a lot is, oh, well, it's good and it's needed, but it's never gonna work. So I'm very I have a smart mouth at times, so yeah. Depending on who says that, I use it against them, and whatever they're working on or whatever they're doing, I always say, well, yeah, it's good what you're doing too, but it's never going to work either. And they kind of look at me like I can't believe you just said that. It's like, I can't believe you just said what you said to me. And I think that's the hope of most people, because who doesn't want to get 25 or 33% of an athlete's contract? Yeah. I mean, for most people, that's golden. So they don't like what I'm doing because it cuts into their money. Or who doesn't want the sport of boxing to be associated, or who doesn't want a possible PA or counsel for the athletes, so the managers and the advisors can be regulated through the PA or the counsel? Who doesn't want that, especially with the fighters, so we can set a standard on how much people are actually getting paid? The fighters will want that, but the people that are in the business right now, it's like, I'm comfortable making my 25 to 33 or whatever percent. So pushback, not so much. It's just more so people are hoping that this doesn't blow up, because it's going to cut into a lot of people's money and how they do things.
I think a lot of people, the casual boxing fan, even some of the boxing heads, they don't really understand the business side of it and what the fighters actually go through. Talk about it. Try to put it in layman's terms what it is a fighter goes through to get himself or herself from the training to the championships. In terms of the business that they have to deal with. Not only do they have to train, they have to find fights, they have to team up with managers, because they're a lot of people don't realize that they're paying for fights early on in their careers, and in the hopes that the bigger promoters either sign them as an opponent for their guys, or actually they're good enough to get signed with the big promoters and actually get paid to fight. You know, talk about the difficulties of just the average athlete.
I think that's the focal point that most people don't take, is the average guy. And I was just talking about this last night. Like, don't think about the Anthony Joshuas and the Errol Spences and the Klitschko's and the Charlos, those guys that have made millions in their careers. Like, those guys, or the Floyd Mayweathers for that matter.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather, it's probably one of the biggest rarities that you'll ever see in the sport of boxing. Don't think about those guys. Think about a guy like an Eric Molina, or a Jerry Belmontes, or a James De La Rosa. Of course, I named 3 guys that I've helped out in their careers.
Yeah.
But they're guys that are not household names. They didn't make millions of dollars in the sport, and they sacrifice 10 plus years of their livelihood to the sport of boxing. So just to relate to an individual that is looked at as an average Joe,
yeah.
You've spent 10 years of your life working, so every month you have a certain amount of income that flows in. You're not hurting for money. Even if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you know something is coming in, and you know you got hours at your job, so you know, if nothing else, your bills and family will be taken care of. The life of a professional boxer, if there's 12 months in a calendar year, you'll be lucky to get 4 fights out of that calendar year. And if you don't have a job that you're working on the side that can make ends meet, or if you don't have someone that's behind you that's providing a stipend or something like that, you're really sacrificing 4 months out of the year to make however much money and get however many wins to try to get one step closer to a championship fight. So you're sacrificing 10 years of your life not working for this one big moment to win a championship and to make a lot of money that's going to take care of you for the rest of your life. And if I could put all this on paper and I can give you a choice of which route would you take, would you rather take the safe route to where 10 years you're getting paid every month out of the year, you know something is coming in, or would you rather take this other route to where you only get maybe in the first year 4 fights, second year maybe 3 fights, third year you probably get 4 fights again, and all the numbers are equaling up to you make $25,000 at the end of the year, you make $30,000 at the end of the next year, then third year maybe you get lucky, you make $70,000. Would you rather go with that, or would you rather go with what's easy? And most people would take the easy route. So the fighters are taking one hell of a sacrifice, but once the business is broken down and the numbers I just named, 70, 50, 30, you don't come out with those numbers because your overhead expenses are so high based off of the sport not being regulated. So your 70,000 turns into 30,000, and your 50,000 turns into 25,000, and your 25,000 turns into 10,000 based off of you paying up to 43% in overhead expenses just based off of your management and your training. So it's a lot to take in, but once you really break down the numbers and you see the sacrifice the professional boxers are taking, it's not for everyone, and everyone does not take the sacrifice of being a professional boxer and going through what they go through.
Yeah, you definitely have to love it. You definitely have to be dedicated to it, and the story of what you're describing is consistent throughout the sport. Doing the working with the smaller promoters with the show Best in Boxing, I meet these kids over and over and over again, where they get up in the morning, they do their run, they go to work, they work a full 8-hour day, or sometimes they have 2 jobs, then they go train at night. And this is not a one-time, this is not a one-year thing. This is a multi-year for a lot of these kids, and in the hopes that they get a big payday. And then hopefully they have the right team around them so that they don't end up broke at the end of that big payday. Because with the taxes, with the management fees, with the trainer fees, the promoter, depending on what promoter you have, some of the promoters will take a piece of the purse. Right. And by the time you're done, all that work, years and years and years, I mean, you probably make more working at McDonald's with some of these guys. And so you have to love the sport in order to do it. You have to have that dream has to be alive for them in order to do it. And I see a lot of guys, they'll do it for a little bit, but then they'll fall out because it's just too difficult. It's just too difficult for them.
I completely agree with you. Completely agree.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough game inside the ring. I think it's even tougher outside the ring because of all they have to deal with it.
I think it's more tough inside the ring, outside the ring than it is inside the ring. At least they love what's going on inside the ring. Outside the ring, they don't understand exactly what's going on because there's no knowledge of it when you turn pro from amateur. Like, there's no symposium or there's nothing to say, okay, you know what? I know you guys love what goes on inside the ring, but in the next couple of hours, the next couple of days, we're going to break down to you how it gets outside of the ring and what goes on behind the scenes. And after that, let's see if you still love this and want to go forward with this as is. And I think that's the part that I'll be more comfortable with at the end of the day. And I hope I don't take one of your questions later on and answer it now. But at the end of the day, if there could be a symposium set up for fighters, amateur, even if they're not going to be world champions, even if they're just the average guys that didn't have a big amateur background, that aren't looked at as the next big thing in boxing, if they are sat down and over, whether it be a couple of hours or 2 days, if things are broken down to them, how this business is going to go and what they're sacrificing, if all of that is broken down and they can take home handouts, pamphlets, whatever it may be, if all of that can happen, then they are knowledgeable at that point on, and they know what they're getting into going forward. So whatever happens going forward, they've been equipped with the necessary tools to move forward, and there's no excuse. There's no excuse about, oh man, well, I didn't know or no one told me. Like, no, you knew because we prepared you at the symposium. That honestly will be everything for me if that can happen within the next year.
Until that happens, they do have a tool that you help create. Protect Yourself at All Times, the book. Tell people where they can get it. It's good education, I think, not only for the fighters, but any parent that has a child that's interested in boxing and they're good in the amateur ranks and taking it professionally, just to educate themselves on the sport of boxing. Where can they get your book?
You can find the book at Amazon.com. That's where most of the buys are happening. Most people just go to Amazon. Or you can go to BarnesandNoble.com. I did my book signing to debut the book at Barnes & Noble. But also, even on top of that, I've partnered with Everlast, which is the glove company. Most of the fighters, you guys either have worn Everlast or Everlast going forward. I've partnered with them to do a podcast titled Protect Yourself at All Time, The Business of Boxing. And I break down the same things I break down in the book. So you can take the podcast as like an audio book. If you don't want to read the actual book, which I strongly encourage you to do, you can go listen to the podcast, and I break down in layman's terms exactly how I'm speaking right now on the things you should look out for or prepare for as you embark on your journey as a professional fighter. But BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com. You can also go to my website, acsportsm.com, and you can buy my book there. You can also go to my personal website, adrianclark.org, and you can also buy my book there. But it's available all around. It doesn't sell out, so the book's selling out. It's available for you guys.
It should sell out. I don't think people realize how many thousands of boxers there are, amateur boxers, and then professionals that they never get to see. All of these guys should have the book. They should. It should be a resource for all of them.
I totally agree.
Until you can get the symposium set up. So I definitely want to talk to you again once you get that set up, because I'd love to be able to get that information out there and let fighters know.
Armando, I haven't told you I think I learned this from boxing. I'm very calculated, man.
You have to be.
Yeah, you have to, but we'll talk off of the phone. I'll give you what the grand finale is, and I think honestly, I think you're gonna hear it and love it. But I know everyone in the sport is gonna love it, even if you don't like what I'm talking about. The way that it's gonna be set up, you're gonna love it, man. You're gonna love it.
Well, talk about what you're doing in New York. You have a fighter on the Kovalev card.
Yeah, actually, I'm getting phone calls and texts. So I'm trying to I keep looking to the sides. I'm trying to see if something is going on. I know that someone had missed weight. So I didn't know if the fight was canceled. I actually just got a call.
Oh, wow.
From Jolene Mazone of Main Events. But I'm in New York for the Kovalev-Shabransky fight. And I know Jolene's going to kill me because I declined both of her calls, but one of my clients, Frank Garza, is on the undercard of Kovalev-Shabransky on HBO at the Garden. New York is actually behind me. I don't know if you can see.
Nice.
Behind me.
Nice.
So I'm here for that, but with the phone calls and everything I'm getting, I'm trying to see if anything has happened in the past 10 minutes we've been on to make sure the fight is still going on. But I'm here for that, and Frank is he's happy to be free from bad contracts, and he's free to get opportunity with Main Events, which is a first-class company. So he's looking forward to it. I'm excited to be here.
Good for him. So just real quickly, I think right now we're at a perfect length as far as, since it's the first time doing this. I'm curious how many people will watch and for how long they'll watch. But as far as a closing segment, I want to do something about the sport in general. What are you looking forward to in terms of fights that are already scheduled? And then what are you looking forward to in terms of 2018 as far as what you want to see as far as a competition of boxing goes? Who do you want to see in the ring? What do you want to see?
Of course, like everyone, I want to see Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, which I think if Deontay kind of sits down a little bit, he's not the draw Anthony Joshua is. Anthony Joshua just put 90,000 with Klitschko and then 80,000 with his last fight. Anthony Joshua probably hasn't done those numbers in his entire career. So I feel that to make the fight happen, Deontay needs to just kind of take what they give him, so to speak, which is still going to be a career payday. Go Anthony Joshua and become the draw at that point. But that's a fight I want to see. I would like to see, I know this is kind of reaching, but I eventually want to see Errol Spence and Canelo. I think that's the fight.
That'll be a great fight.
Errol Spence versus Canelo. The Charlo brothers, I'm really impressed by both of them, but a fight with possibly either David Lemieux or Danny Jacobs or Billy Joe Saunders if he beats Lemieux. Like, those are very interesting fights. I'm honestly, the landscape of how things is going as far as possible fights, I'm really excited for where the sport is going. I just hope that we can bring it all together.
There's always that.
Make these fights and put boxing really on the forefront instead of one company being on an island, another company being on an island, and this other company. Let's bring it all together and let's really make boxing like the NBA or the NFL is. Let's make it like that rather than being so divided.
Especially like you look at the 147-pound division, which is historically one of the better, more exciting divisions. Look at all the talent in that division. If all the promoters could actually come together and get some of those fights to happen, wow.
Man, it would be amazing, my man. So I'm hoping that we can get that, but you know how this business goes.
That's why we all laugh about it. That's all we can do. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the Rigondeaux. I just drew a blank.
Yeah,
Lomachenko, thank you. I'm actually looking forward to that fight next week. That'll be a fun one. So
I got Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko will be more busier than Rigo will be, and it'll be a chess match for sure. So people that really appreciate the sport of boxing, they'll enjoy it. But the guys are going to come out fighting. The casual fan probably won't dig it too much because those guys are very tactical and they're very strategic in the ring. But it'll make for a great fight.
Yeah. I think I'm curious to see how much Rigo's got left in the tank. He hasn't fought much, but when I have seen him fight in the past few years, I was with Top Rank when he was there doing the majority of his fights, so I got a chance to see him up close. And I just don't see, what is he, 30? He's in his mid-30s now?
Yeah, he's in his older 30s.
Yeah, so I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. It would have been great to see these guys, earlier, but still, it's an exciting chess match fight. I like it. So.
Wait, I know you probably can't see me. I'm sending this message.
Yeah, but I can hear you.
Yeah, Jolene is calling me again, so.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure that I'm telling her that I'm doing an interview. Sorry about this.
No worries. I mean, you're out there doing business, so I appreciate the time.
Oh man, no problem, man. No problem. Thank you.
So just to wrap this up, then. I want to plug your book one more time. Going to Amazon, going to Barnes and Noble, getting Protect Yourself at All Times, which is, the title is extremely appropriate for boxing. Obviously inside the ring reference, but it's even more appropriate for outside the ring. Right. With what these fighters go through. So big shout out for that book. It's a quick read. I think it took me 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but it's something that you can keep, mark up, use as a reference, take it with fighters can take it to negotiations, reference things, right. When they're talking to their managers, when they're talking to their trainers, so they hopefully they can realize that they are a business, not just a sport, not just an athlete. So and so it's key, and that message needs to get out there for the sport in general. That's where it starts with the fighters. If the fighters push to make the change, if you can convert the fighters and get them to focus in on the business side on top of their careers, it's tough, but they can spark the change. They can spark the change in the sport.
If the NBA players can do it, then the professional boxers can do it.
Yeah. And there's enough money. There's enough money in the sport. It's a big money sport, as you see on the top end of the sport. There's enough money to go around that it doesn't just have to be in a small percentage of the promoters anymore. It could spread. It could spread.
No, absolutely right. Absolutely right. But no, man, thank you for having me, man. There has to be some type of crisis going on right now.
Okay, yeah, go do the thing. I could honestly talk for hours about every subject in your book. But that would, I'm sure, for the average fan, it would probably bore the hell out of them. But
right. we'll definitely do this again. I know we'll collaborate more.
Yeah.
Into the future, man. But I love everything that you're doing. I'm glad that we met in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we stayed connected for this long. But I know, without a doubt, that our relationship and our friendship is only going to build going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to be, I don't want to say pioneers, but the new wave of how boxing is going to be. The start is with us and guys like us. So we have to make sure we keep going, man, and grow this network so that big things can happen. But
yeah, definitely.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. Handle your business, and we'll talk soon. Good luck tomorrow at the fights.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for watching the very first interview. Hope you enjoyed it. Adrian is a light in the sport of boxing. Please follow Adrian. Purchase his book. if you're a boxer, amateur boxer, parent of an amateur boxer who wants to become a professional, trainer, manager, read the book. There's a lot of great information in there, and it can be used for a lot of, to bring a lot of good to the sport. I'd like to again thank Adrian Clark for being on and being, doing the very first one with me. I plan on talking to a lot of fighters who fight on our cards on the Best in Boxing show, but as well as talk to other professional fighters, bigger name fighters that I know who I will be asking to be on the interview, and we're going to just go from there. We're going to continue to bring more content exclusively for this website, and I'm hoping to grow the patron page in hopes that we're able to generate a little bit of money to be able to continue to bring shows like Best in Boxing, and then also bring more shows online. Definitely have a ton of shows that we want to do, and with your help, we definitely can make it come true. Thank you.